someone is asking, okay, someone is asking this. What happens to an animal soul when it dies? An animal does not have a soul like a human being. It just has the nefesh. The nefesh is something that every creature in the world, whether it be a human, an animal, a plant, even a rock, everything has to have some type of nefesh in order to give it life, in order for it to exist in the world. A human being also has other parts, has the neshama and so on. But an animal just has the nefesh, just has the animal spirit, if you will. And that animal spirit just dies. That's it. It doesn't have a Gan Eden, it doesn't have a Genom, unless in that animal is a reincarnation of a human being that sinned and is being punished to return into the world as an animal. A couple of, there's a Shara Gilgulim by the Arizal, or if you want to look at the Rabbi Yehuda Sefer, talks about Gilgulim, and the Zohar Kadosh talks about Gilgulim, and many, many other places talk about reincarnation. We even talk about reincarnation in our prayer. Reincarnation is very much a real part of Judaism. It's not considered mystical Judaism. It's considered standard practice, standard Judaism. Anyone that says he doesn't believe in reincarnation is missing on part of the Torah, is in essence going against the dot of the Chachamim of our Torah. And reincarnation is not only a form of Hashem giving us another chance to fix things, but also it's a form of punishment, or in a mix of both, if you will. And if a Jew makes certain sins, he has to reincarnate as an animal. The two examples are that I can give you is if a Jew is intimate with a non-Jew. If a Jew is intimate with a non-Jew, they have to come back as an animal. It's a Gemara Meforeshet. Gemara specifically says, Dvuka bo kikelev. She's glued to him like a dog. Meaning, the Gaon of Vilna says, a person that was intimate with a Jewish person was intimate with a non-Jewish woman has to be reincarnated as a dog. And many, many other punishments, unless they do tshuva. If they do tshuva, they can eliminate this. And now that human being that reincarnated as a dog is suffering the whole time he's a dog. Is suffering the whole time he's a dog. And there's many stories of amazing things that happened. There's actually a famous story by Rav Nissim again, where he saw in his own eyes. He one time, Rav Nissim again, alav shalom, was Kodesh Kodashim. What up? If he was here today, I mean, it's mamash. He'd kiss his feet. I just spoke to his son not too long ago, and it's just unbelievable that there was such kedusha in the world just 10 years ago. Anyway, Rav Nissim again, alav shalom, he was around a lot of supernatural things on a regular basis. All the craziest stories you could possibly imagine came to him on a regular basis. He was mamas like the Rabbi Yehuda of the generation, if you will. He was around this stuff all the time. Anyway, this is a story that he saw firsthand, and he says it in many of his lectures, not just one. And it's also written in his book, and so on. One time he came to the United States, and he went to Los Angeles. And the person that was driving him around said, let's go pray mincha. They went pray mincha in the Kila over there in Los Angeles. And once they got there, the guy that was taking him around was like, Rabbi, why don't we go to this guy's house after mincha and mourn with him because he's his son just died. I said, sure, let's go to that. So they went to the guy's house. He says the house of this guy was like a castle. It was something out of the movies. Huge, giant house. Has, stories in it and all types of things. But, Hashem Yishmo, death. Once you have death, everything else goes in the garbage. So they go inside, and the Baal Habayit comes to the Rav and says to the Rav, I have to tell you something. And he sees that the wife is sitting over there smoking like a chimney. And she's saying, yeah, like she's nodding her eyes. She can't talk. Everybody's crying. But something happened there. Something happened there. He says, what happened? He says, Rav, everybody that's here, there was a bunch of people in the room. He says, everybody that's here saw this with their own eyes. Saw this with their own eyes. This happened last night. He says, what happened? He says, last night we prayed over here, mincha in the house, mourning for my son. And all of a sudden, a huge Rottweiler, we don't have any dogs, a giant Rottweiler, black, started smashing on the door. So somebody brought a dog? No dog, who's this? Mamash, right before the tefillah, we didn't know what to do. Knocking on the door, barking, nothing. Nobody's scared to death. Who's going to open the door for this? After he barked for a little while, knocked on the door, so nobody's doing anything. He stopped and he left. So okay, fine. The next thing you know, we're about to start praying. The Rottweiler was in the house. He went inside the house. There's a secret entrance to the house that only family members knew. Only family members knew. This Rottweiler found this entrance and got into the house. And he went there and he sat right next to me. He didn't say nothing. He sat right next to me. I said, I looked at the Rottweiler and something came to, I saw his face and I said, no way. Could it be? Is it him? And I just thought to myself, he said, nobody knows my thoughts. Nobody heard me say this. I just said in my head, the Balabait says, the father says, I said, if this is my son Hashem, please give me a clear sign. Tell him to go to his room. As soon as I finished this thought, the Rottweiler that was sitting next to me got up and went up the stairs. I followed him. Everybody's in shock the whole time. This giant Rottweiler's in the house. Nobody knows whose dog it is. I'm thinking to myself, this is my son. I followed the dog. The dog goes up. He goes into my son's room, jumps on the bed, and lays down. At that moment, I started crying. I said, I knew this is my son. Later on, after that, I brought him some food. I gave him some drink. I covered him. We went to sleep that night. In the morning, he was gone. So the guy says, Rav Yagen, tell me the truth. Is it possible that that dog is my son? Rav Yagen didn't skip a beat. He wasn't politically correct. He knew the guy needs to hear the truth. And he tells the father, tell me the truth. Did your son have a non-Jewish girlfriend? And the father says, yes. He says, then that is your son. Your son had to be reincarnated as a dog because he was with a non-Jewish girl. That's it. That's what it is. This is one of the sins. Somebody has to be reincarnated as a dog. Another reason somebody, after the story, you think of something like this. Shemi Shmo, how many people are intermarried? How many Jewish people are intermarried? In America, it's over 80%. Somebody told me in Denver, it's 95%. It's pretty much tragedy. So this means that not only are people being intimate with non-Jewish people, girls, Jewish girls, Benot Israel, are with non-Jewish men, and vice versa. The Jewish guys are with non-Jewish women. Not only that, but they're actually getting married to them, meaning making it a permanent thing. Why? They don't know the truth. They don't know what's going to happen to them as a result of all this. Not just in the next world, but even in this world. Everyone knows that those relationships that are from intermarriage end up being a disaster. Sometimes it starts off as a disaster. Many times it's later on becomes a disaster. But surely, even if they're not religious, it's always a disaster. Intermarriage is always a disaster. There is no such thing as a happy intermarriage. It's against the teva of the world. It's against the nature of the world for it to be a happy marriage. It could pretend to be happy because of lust and things of that nature. But later on, it becomes a disaster. A lot of tragedies come to them. A lot of dinim come to both of them because, in essence, they're both considered wicked. The non-Jew is considered a murderer. The Jew is considered a person that's a rasha. It's a very big problem. Anyway, so someone that's intermarried with a non-Jewish person has to reincarnate as a dog, and that's a tragedy, unless they do tshuva. To do tshuva for it is not an easy thing. Why? Because you have to first and foremost stop, which is in itself probably the most difficult thing. Second of all, you have to learn about the topic to make sure you never go back. Never ever do it again. Not for fun, not for fun. No reason ever again. Number 3, you have to apologize to HaKadosh Baruch Hu about this. Apologize with tears. Mamash, tears. Next thing is you have to help other people. You have to help other people do tshuva for their intermarriage, for their promiscuous relations with non-Jewish people. Again, non-Jewish and non-Jewish, perfect. Jewish and Jewish, perfect, as long as they're married. But a non-Jew and a Jew, tragedy for both of them. Tragedy for both of them. This is not a racism of Jewish people. This is a Kadosh Baruch Hu's rules, the Hashem's rules. He said we're not allowed to do it, and it's His will to run. So it's important for people to know. As far as the last part of the person that was intimate with a non-Jew, they have to do tikkunim. They have to do tikkunim, which is every single time that they were intimate with someone that's not Jewish, they have to fast 82 times. Now, of course, nobody today can really fast that many times. So the Chachamim, one of them actually being the TANYA, the Arizal, and many of the other Chachamim say that since people are weak now, they can't fast, they can replace the fast with money. So how much money? For every fast, replace it with a meal, a value of a meal. How much, let's say, it cost you for the day to eat? Let's say it cost you $5 to eat a day. Not your regular meal, whatever. You could survive on $5 worth of food, $10 worth of food a day. So it's $10 times 82 fasts. And that's $820. You give it for the sake of Torah. You give it for the sake of teaching this specific subject. So somebody wants to make a marketing for this specific segment of what we just talked about. They want to market it. They take $820 and we market this particular video, and that's a tikkun for one time that they did a sin. Now, if they were with somebody many, many times, and they did this in many, many times, they have to do this tikkun many times. Now you're going to say, wait a minute, so if by the time the guy finishes, you have to be a millionaire to do it. Yeah, you have to be a millionaire. So does Hashem expect you to be a millionaire? If He gave you the money, then you should do it. If you don't have the money, then He expects you to do it with whatever you do have. Meaning, if you have only $800, then you do $800. But if you have $800 a month, then you do $800 a month. If you have $800 a year, you do $800 a year. Whatever you do, and you, in essence, most people have to do it in increments throughout the year, and for a long period of time. Some people that have the money and also have the brain and have the yirat shamayim, they write a big check and they finish. That's the way. You don't want to do it. Don't do it. It's your life. But that's the key. The other thing that I know that there's a gilgul that a person can come back as an animal is for stealing. If he stole money that belongs to somebody else, dishonest business and things of that nature, many times the person has to reincarnate as an animal that works for the person that he stole from. There's a very famous story that I mentioned in the past by the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov had a horse that he knew was a reincarnation of its owner's friend, and he helped him do a tikkun. So why did he have to come back as a horse? Because he borrowed money and didn't pay back. That's considered stealing. So it's important that a person does not have any stolen money on their hands. You have stolen money on your hands, you have to return it to where you stole it from. If you can't return it to where you stole it from, for whatever reason, whether it's because the person or the entity is gone, it's no more in the world, or it will put you in trouble, meaning like if you return the money to the organization, they may press charges and put you in jail. So what do? You take that money that you stole and you give it to Kiruv. You give it to a public cause that this entity or this person can benefit from somehow. You could also give it to like a homeless shelter, whatever is a public cause. But there's obviously nothing better and more public than Kiruv. Stolen money is not money that you want in your hands. Why? Because it's cursed money. It's cursed money. So you have stolen money, get rid of it as soon as possible. I have a person that I know already for several months. He's doing his best to give a few dollars every month, just to get out of it. I have some people, they have millions of dollars stolen, they don't want to know. No, Hashem's going to forgive me. Okay, Hashem's going to forgive me. Good luck with that. So, a person like that doesn't do tikkunim, doesn't do tshuva, has to reincarnate as a dog, has to reincarnate as a different animal, horse or something else. So, yeah. So, without having that neshama chaim, without having that extra neshama of a human being, an animal just simply disappears. Why? Because it was created to serve man. But if it has a human neshama in it, then in essence it's a form of punishment for that person. And after that animal fixes itself, that animal completes the tikkun, then it would most likely have to come back to the world again as a human being, or perhaps go to the next part of its tikkun somewhere else. Whether it be heaven or Gehenom or Kafakir, wherever it is, different places depending on the person.
B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach, we're very excited to offer you the new Be'ezrat Hashem app 3.0. It's a newer, faster app full of Torah, lots of Kedusha by the Shiurim that we do, myself, Rav Ephraim, Rav Chaim, where you'll have also newer features where you're able to use the app while you're using other applications on your phone. You'll be able to share the lectures directly from the app. You'll be able to donate online and support our Kiruv and our Torah work that we're doing. And the most exciting feature is that you'll be able to actually ask questions directly on the app and get answers from the rabbis directly from the app. This is something unprecedented, and Baruch Hashem will be able to offer it. Thank you again for all of your support. Check it out. Make sure you have the kosher Torah that will re-energize your neshama each and every single day. Call to B'chavatzlacha.